quick update. I make these videos for myself more than anyone, just to kind of like a video blog diary thing, because sometimes writing is too time consuming and I can't write as fast as my mind goes, so but yeah, sorry for that noise. If you want to follow along, that's great. I'm just kind of like sharing my journey of like my spiritual journey, and just where I've been and where I am right now in my walk with the Lord, because I do believe in God. It may not look like what is orthodox, and it's not, but it is belief and it is faith. It's not religion, but that's something that I realized recently. I actually just picked up my old college textbook from consciousness class. I took it at Lenore Ryan, Dr. Dale's class on consciousness, and just like some of the things in there, I mean, I know that it really blew my mind back when I took it, but I was in a very different place when I was in that class than I am now. Now I'm on the other side of a experience with magic mushrooms, which I do regard as a very spiritual event for me. It was mostly negative because of the circumstances in which I took the magic mushrooms. It was not a good place to do it, and of course, you know, everything that comes with using illegal drugs, and just not knowing like whether you're poisoned or not. But I did have like a spiritual experience, and just like as I've been gaining knowledge and learning about Gnosticism lately, and like even just I read a little bit of the book of the Dalai Lama, very small amount of the Quran. I've been reading a lot of the Gnostic scriptures, and just kind of like questioning a lot of like Orthodox Christianity. I had already read some of the Apocrypha, and you know, I've come out of a religious cult, mid-Acts dispensationalism. I've learned a lot more about the different views of eschatology within the Christian Orthodox faith. So that's just, you know, a few things that since I've taken this consciousness class that have kind of added on to that particular knowledge. But anyways, looking back at that book, over the past 2 to 3 days, I've read quite a bit of it, and something that really resonated with me was memes. M-E-M-E, so you would be familiar with like internet memes. That's where, you know, I originally heard of the term meme, but it's actually like a psychological thing, and like we are given memes. Memes are religion, and I don't know, it was just a way for me to kind of see a name for what I'm trying to explain that Orthodox Christianity is, and why I reject being a part of it, because I see that they use certain like Orthodox beliefs as a way to manipulate people through fear and control. That's why the powers that be, the God of this world, everything like in the secular world is okay with Christians going to church and practicing their religion, as as long as, they're not killing anybody, but they do have holy world wars where they allow people to kill each other over their faith. And obviously, like, if your religion says that you need to, like, murder people because of the Holy Land, like, that you're not, something is not right. Like, if you are believing in a peaceful Jesus and of course some of what he said conflicts himself, like, oh, I didn't come to bring peace but a sword, and he's gonna divide people, mother and daughter, and so you just kind of have to read and determine, like, what is truth and what is not truth. And so that's, like, kind of went off on a tangent, but the meme thing for me was interesting, and it kind of connected back to the knowledge of good and evil in the Garden of Eden, the story that we have, and then with Paul saying that we're born in sin because of Adam's curse. I don't really see it as, like, just being a human means you're born into sin and it's because of the lineage and because of the blood. I see it as, like, humans there was an evolution of consciousness that happened in the Garden of Eden, in which Adam and Eve, they were animals, not knowing the difference between good and evil, basically not having laws governing them, right, wrong, light, dark, good, bad. They had no concept of that, just like an animal does. They also had no concept of wearing clothes like animals. They had no shame. They were naked. They knew no shame, just like an animal. But something happened, whether, there was a snake involved, whether there was deceit involved, or, I don't know, but something happened that changed them, that opened their eyes, that enlightened them, that made them self-conscious. That's what self-consciousness is you are aware of yourself. You are aware of right and wrong. You are aware of your nakedness. This is something that was, they discovered it, and then they passed it down to their children. And that's what being born in sin is. We pass it down to our children, this self-consciousness. And consciousness has been evolving since then. That's why we have artificial intelligence. It's a form of consciousness. And, the kind that we have today it's scary. I mean, Elon Musk said that they needed to pump the brakes, but it was too late. There may be one day where it's taking the place of humans, but right now we're the most conscious, and we're becoming more conscious. Think about the way things were in the Dark Ages. Nobody could read and write, or only some people could read and write. Think about the Enlightenment period, the Renaissance, the Illuminati, and which the modern day Illuminati I would think is bad, but there was an original one. What's that guy's name? Jefferson, Thomas Jefferson followed him. I can't think of his name. It's like John something with a W, maybe. But anyways, consciousness, I see it as evolving, and and that's what makes us like God. Not the same thing as God, but that is the spark of God that we have within us. And then we need to look inside of ourselves at that consciousness, that conscious being, that part of us that is one with everything in the universe, the part of us that is spiritual and never will die, that's what we need to look at and understand, because that's what we have that came from the Father, and that's what Jesus was trying to teach us about. And I do agree with the Gnostics that we're bound in a material world, and so it's impossible for us to fully understand life after death, to fully understand God, and anything spiritual, because we're bound in a material world. And until you separate the fabric of reality, you cannot explain that other world. But that world is very close. It's a thin fabric in between. And you know, that's why you have schizophrenics. That's why you have these crazy things that happen when you're on mushrooms. What does it mean? I don't know, because I'm still in the material world. I'm in my body. And learning about these things could be a major waste of time. But I do know that the most important thing is that we should be loving each other, and that God is love and light, and in Him is no darkness. So I rest in that. I rest in the peace that passes all understanding. And I just try to know Him more every day. So that's where I'm at.